Okay, hi. Here's another episode of Home Studio Workshop. This is all about the software that I actually use. A lot of it's old, but it all works. The studio I have here is a better studio than Abbey Road was in the 60s. So you can make music with this studio, and if you can do that, that's all you need to do. Same applies to the video. It doesn't have to be this week's model. In fact, that's a real trap you can fall into. You spend all your time upgrading things and never actually doing anything. So find something that works, keep it going, and there you go. Anyway, here we go. Right, so this is a demonstration of some of the software that I use. How I got it all is another story. If you make money on it, buy it, etc., etc. Anyway, Cubase. This is a track I'm working on at the moment. It's all a bit squished up because I use two monitors. Right, the important things, the most important thing, one of the most important things, this is a channel strip. This is very important. These are great. These come with waves, so get waves. I forget the bundle. I'll put a link to it somewhere. If not on the screen, it should. If it's not on the screen by now, it will be. But get channel strips. It's just all what channel strips do is just emulate you having a massive, great desk, and you can put as many as you like. They don't take up much. So yeah, this is brilliant. It's got a high filter, a low filter, a dynamics portion, a gate portion, and good 4-band EQ, input output gain, blah blah blah. It just works exactly like a desk would work. So they're wonderful. Use those. Compressors. I use various waves compressors. Let's see, look, it's a 76, very good for certain things. In this case it's on a kick drum. This is all the same here. All these come in mono and stereo, so make sure you match them to the track. That's kind of important. That's a 2A. That is on the bass there, in fact. Very good for that. And a 3A, which I use for, I believe, a rhythm guitar. Yeah, guitars. I use Amplitude 3, sometimes much less now than I used to. I tend to record guitar live these days, but Amplitude 3 is a very good program. Works very well. Now, for anything to do with virtual instruments, instead of panning here, there, instead of panning there, use the built-in stereo imager and use that to pan. You can change the width of the stereo signal, which is very useful. Make drums wide, make, say, keyboards or something narrow. Works very well. And of course you can pan it left or right to your heart's desire. It works much better than using the panner, because a stereo track has got, for example, bass notes on the, to get my hands in the right place here for the camera. There you go. Left hand bass notes, right hand high notes. When you pan in the old-fashioned way, all you're doing is moving the volume towards the bass notes or towards the treble notes. You're taking the volume off of one side and putting it on the other. That's what the panner does. But the stereo imager here does not do that. It moves the whole sound left or right. Read up on that if you don't get what I'm saying, but it really works. It's very, very good. Okay, moving on. What else can I find here? Reverbs. For a long time I've been using CSR reverbs. It's called like that, which is called Classic Studio Reverb. There is a plate, there is a room, there is a hall, and I use all of them for different things. They are great. They make a realistic sound. Highly recommended. That's the reverbs. Right, what else we got, John? Right, get into virtual instruments. Contact 4. On this particular track, it's only running a tambourine, but it can do so much more. Great piano sounds, all kinds of things, but read up on that. But if you can get Contact 4, get it. It's the best of the multi virtual instruments you can get. All kinds of sounds, and of course you can add and add and add and add to your heart's content. Right, I also use this considerably often, which is a B4. This is Native Instruments B4, and this is fabulous. I will demonstrate it later on. At the moment I can't, because I haven't got the software set up to record ASIO off onto OBS. This is something which I'll get into later. But this is a fantastic piece of kit. It really sounds just like a real B4. It's got a great sound. A friend of mine who is a proper B4 player says it sounds as good as his does, and he's got a real old B3. Lots of controls over it, over the amplifier section, over the Leslie sections, all kinds of controls over it, everything you want. Fabulous piece of kit. The other thing I use is Superior Drummer. Yeah, this is made by Toontrak, and it's a great piece of kit. I tend to use the Nashville kit as a general rule. I just like the sound of it. Again, I will demonstrate this much more fully in a later episode. So that's Superior. That's where the drums come from. For bass being recorded without an amplifier, if you know what I mean, a DI'd bass, I use this Ampex SVX. Again, I have a friend who's an excellent bass player, and he always uses this when he records with me. Good piece of kit, just like an amp, works beautifully, sounds right, all kinds of presets, blah blah blah. That's great for making a good bass sound when you haven't got an amplifier handy. I don't need it there, so I'll turn it off. And finally, when you come to mastering, there is only one place to go for mastering, and that's Isotope. Takes a while to load. Isotope Ozone 5. That is the place to be for mastering. That is a fantastic piece of kit. If you're serious about mastering your own work, you've got to get this. And that's it for audio. Website design, I use this. This is Dreamweaver, a fairly ancient version of Dreamweaver. It's okay. It gets me along. I'm a lot better at using it than I used to be. I used to try and go too fast, and you have to go quite slowly. And these days, of course, you have to remember that there are more than one sizes to export. Find out how to make that work. That's the one for the mobile. That's the one for the tablet or desktop, I think, is it? No, that's desktop. Yeah, that's the one for desktop. and that's the one for the tablet. So you need all three. Figure out how to make that work. And I'll get into this again later if I ever do a tutorial on how to do websites. It will be a long one, believe me. So yeah, on the rare occasions when I can't get the inbuilt upload program to work inside of Dreamweaver, I tend to use this, which is FileZilla, and that works very well to connect you to your server. Okay, another thing I use a lot, very briefly, is this thing here called Everything. This searches your computer, and it does a fantastic job. You turn off all the Windows search things, just turn them off and use this instead. This is so cool. All the usual shortcuts work, so if you do star.cpr, let's say, there they are. Bang, like that. Okay, video. How to do video. Premiere Pro. Again, 5.5. Adobe Premiere Pro. CS 5.5. Again, this is all a bit squashed up to what I would normally have it, because I use two monitors, and obviously one of them is being used to record this malarkey. So here we are. This is just a little trailer I did for Instagram. This works great. I love working with video. You can affect every... It's just too much to go into now, but I'll do a big thing on this good audio mixer. You can record on it to do voiceovers, things like that. Mostly I entirely use what came with it. The one exception is this, which is CI Feathered Crop. It's made by a company called Creative Impatience, which I think is a Russian guy or something like that, Eastern Europe anyway. And it's a fantastic piece of kit which does what it says on the tin: feathers and crops your image, and it does a really good job. Everything else on there is pretty much basically what it is. And of course, it's so ubiquitous that I almost forgot about it, is of course Photoshop. How can you live without Photoshop? The Hoover of the software world. And there you have it. Okay, that was that. A nice little trawl through my collection of software. On to the next episode. See ya.